Linu's look of surprise quickly turns to ashamed guilt as she apologizes. She never meant to make things more difficult. Lilly asks her meek mystic to admit that she may have been wrong about the Wheel of Stars and matters of romance to the rusty raconteur, for Sharwin's sake, of course, and to not frighten the poor girl by inviting savage half-orcs for company. Something else she was crying about. Something dreadful happened when she was younger, but best not to talk about it. In fact, best not to bring it up at all. Ever. Linu nods her head.
Well, hello. Have you exciting news for me, or is this just a routine visit? Either way, I'm pleased to see you again.
Yeah, actually, Lily's only here, I think, to buy a few scrolls. For which I think she has at least a Fenberry. Alright. Lilly trades one pair of magical boots for another. A pair of red leather boots, the ones blessed by priests of Shandakul. She also purchases a 5th spellbook, polar bear hide, of the purest white. While Lilly browses the guild scrolls, she thinks about its mistress and her extorting spell components from even fellow Cloakwizards in the name of fair trade. What could she be up to? She must be amassing them for something. She even had a specific and exclusive list of the ones she would accept. Lilly will have to do some research. And it's likely not related to the ancient Imaskar tomes, as how could she know the recipes before even seeing the books? Inside the Many-Starred Cloak arcane laboratory, Lilly can't resist checking the potted plant. Again, just in case that apprentice, Sir Potkin, or whatever his name was foolish enough to leave his savings there again. Apparently not. Otherwise, Lilly can't think of a single spell Eltoora might be preparing for. Suggestion requires the snake's tongue, scrying a hawk's eye, Mage's faithful hound a piece of bone, web a bit of spider silk, except wall of ice. That requires quartz. With Eltoora's presumably mediocre talent, she could probably conjure close to 150 square feet per piece of quartz. Interesting. Otherwise, the new Office of Academic Affairs no longer has a junk drawer, but a clutter chest, crystal sculptures, Dydd's journal, an imperfect great axe, worthless miscellany from Mutiman's challenge. Lilly forgets about Eltoora's icy secrets for the time being. She has a new pair of boots and asks the Hazel healer's assistant in putting them on. Unlike others before it, these exude a bit more power than the others. Linu smiles, more or less comfortable with the curious routine, as she lends a shoulder to her mistress. At first, Lilly doesn't sense anything, and so she kneels and focuses her mind solely on the boots. Lilly sees an incredibly fat woman with gray hair hiding a dagger in her capacious bosom. She's approaching a young man, an important man, from behind, and plunges the dagger in his back. She's fleeing on a ship with a black sail and waving a meat cleaver in the air. Other ships are in pursuit, and they're approaching fast. She dives over the side and swims ashore. It's Port Llast. She's traveling to another town, a logging village. It's dark, a low ceiling, and a flagstone floor. It's a tavern. She's shouting orders and still waving that meat cleaver in the air. not her old worn-out boots. She'll have to ask one of the older residents, maybe that drunkard they call first captain, about any pirate women that might have washed ashore. Oh, the laugh she would have if she found out her name was Calli. Imagine that. The spy master revealed to have a caliph's weakness for not just a larger figure, but plump pirates. Finally, time for little Linu. Lily supposes she'll have to be polite if Linu insists on talking about her husband again.
Hey there, dear. What can I do for you?
Or, of course, Lily, I think, just wanted to talk a little with Linu. Yeah, I think she'd begun to tell a story that Lily wasn't particularly interested in, but I'd like to at least hear the rest of it. Concerning her husband, I believe. You want to know how Synth won my heart, Lily? Not really. But of course she's curious what other details Linu might divulge about herself. I guess I could tell you about it. I couldn't face Synth since our embarrassing encounter. I decided never to be near him again. Easier said than done when dealing with a daring adventurer. One night he scaled the 10-story wall of my parents' home and climbed in through the window. As he began to quietly serenade me, I sat bolt upright in bed and opened my mouth to scream. He jumped toward me to quiet me, but I didn't know it was him, so I brought my foot up and kicked him in the jaw. He stumbled backwards out onto the balcony. I leapt up to continue my attack, but when I got to the balcony, I saw his face in the moonlight. He was holding his jaw, his face wrinkled in pain. Yeah, it sounds like he might have broken his jaw. I just bruised him, but it must have hurt a lot because when I realized what I'd done, I moved to help him and he must have thought I was attacking again. He leapt over the edge of the balcony since he didn't want to have to hurt me to stop me, or so he said later. I thought he would fall and kill himself, so I ran over to stop him. He grabbed the edge of the balcony floor between the rails and was trying to swing himself toward the lower terrace. I didn't see his fingers, though. Alright, could probably guess what's about to happen. I stepped right on his hand, causing it to slip off the edge. He managed to hang on with his left hand, though. Fearing he would die, I called on Sanine for the strength to save him. I felt power flow into my muscles, and I reached over the edge, grabbing his hand. I pulled, heard a loud popping noise, and hauled him over the wall, dislocated shoulder and all. I don't think he was terribly thankful at first. He just lay on the balcony trying to hold his shoulder and rub his jaw. I was trying to apologize, but he just kept begging me not to touch him. Finally, I got frustrated with his protests, and I grabbed his shoulder, popped it back into place, then cast a healing spell on him to relieve the pain. I never gave him a chance to think about, forgiving her. I helped him up, kissed him soundly, then led him into my bedchambers and removed any thought of flight from his mind. Yeah. I don't think Lily's particularly impressed. We were very close after that night, and we married a year later, though those were the happiest years of my life. I just wish they could have lasted. I think Lily was under the impression that they were still happily married. Perhaps not. I can't talk about that right now. The memories are too unpleasant. Alright. Perhaps Lily can get her to talk about that later.
Lily'd be lying if she said she wasn't surprised at how manipulative Linu can obviously be. No doubt he betrayed her in some fashion in the end, however. She shouldn't be surprised, really. Now both Rusty and Dusty have tales of heartbreak to tell their mistress. So typical. Pathetic, really. Lily changes the subject and asks of Linu, well, has a bottle of something nice. Is she sure? Nothing she forgot to mention. Despite a dry evening, the ladies had a good laugh at the Calimshan spy master and his harem of fat pirate girls, awaiting their master's return from Lord Nasher's most lenient prison sentence, and how he's simply waiting here in Port Llast for Calli to wash ashore again, the one that got away. On the way to the North Gate, Linu explains to Lilly that, well, she had a dream, a vision really, in which she saw a quarterstaff hovering in midair, cut in half by a sickle and a flash of blinding light. In this way, the Lady of Dreams had uncovered new mysteries for her, previously veiled by the luminous cloud. Mysteries of things both mystical and natural. Lily's not sure what the Dusty Diviner is talking about, but congratulates her politely nonetheless, assuming it's something, well, positive at least. Yeah, the Henchmen inventory and AI mod has introduced some changes to Linu's character build. As has been mentioned previously, she normally only has a single clerical domain, that of healing, but now with the mod, she has two proper clerical domains, magic and plant. What does that mean? Under the Aurora engine, bonus spells as well as the ability to turn vermin as if they were undead, which will certainly be interesting to see if she actually uses it.
Alright, here's some goblins by the road. Not gonna be able to sneak by, I think. Not sure that we're particularly worried, but might as well see this. I think it was a summoned bear. Yeah. It's huge. Alright.
Lily takes a moment to admire her latest pet, a hulking dire bear. At almost 12 feet long and up to 8,000 pounds, he could likely rip apart anything she wanted him to, with his sickle's sharp claws and with a wild and destructive gleam in his cold and piercing eyes. Lily's surprised to see a stranger on the road heading north, a man in common traveling clothes and, surprisingly, unarmed. And unfortunately, it looks like he's turning around to bother the Inquisitor General. Probably another farmer's son.
Or here's Benleran. Listen to me. Just a short time ago, someone came here looking for you, or at least someone who matches your exact description. He said he was going to slaughter you, and he demanded to know where you were. Nearly slit my throat, too. Came here on the road, okay. Yeah, asking who he was. Some sort of orc, and a huge one at that. Asking when this happened. Yesterday. I could barely sleep last night for thinking about it. Gods, I nearly died. She doubts he left a name, but might as well ask. No. Just said he was with the cult. That's brazen. None of us had the courage to ask any questions. There was dried blood on his hands. Alright. though it doesn't really help much. I suggest you run away and never return. I think I might.
Lilly wonders what this exact description could have been. It had better have been flattering. But a cultist, an orc, with dried blood on his hands. He certainly sounds bestial. She's not sure whether to be more fearful of his skills as a tactician or his appetite. She was going to bring her savage barbarian from the Coldwood into the caverns anyway, for the ogre mage's alleged bugbear army. But she has even more reason now, in case this carnivorous cultist finally tracks her down. She'll give him something to eat, all right.